Engagement, I guess you can build engagement from content, even from people who aren't necessarily following you, because the way the platforms are. So people might not follow you on TikTok, but you might have high engagement. But if those people choose to follow and buy into you and your story, come to the Run Club, come to the event, that's like unlocks like a really special level, in my opinion, because it's those are the people who take their time out of their day to support you.
Today's episode will be about how social media has sort of changed the fitness landscape. Before we dive into the conversation, Nora, can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Right, don't know where shall I begin, Charlie?
We've only got like 5 minutes. Yeah.
Where shall I start? Which part of my
After
life?
you, go on.
So I am a talent agent, and I became an agent probably like 9 years ago. But 4 years ago, I started my own talent agency, which is called the Millar Agency, and we have offices in London and Dublin, which is really exciting. But I've worked in kind of PR and talent management for, I'd say, like 9 years or so, actually starting in health and fitness PR. So I worked with the likes of like Cobox, One London, the list goes on. But
Never helped us out there.
I did. I've seen branding decks.
And do you know what?
I've seen branding decks.
Do you know what? I'm surprised she's even here today, because she usually cancels on me
She's a
at
flake.
every opportunity.
She's a flake.
Top flake in the game.
I'm not a flake,
so-
but I've just got a busy schedule.
Okay, fair enough. There you go.
You know what
But
I mean?
if we're going to talk business, that's what only brings her here.
Yeah, I'm only
Yeah,
here for
fair
business,
enough.
for promo.
No, you've smashed it though. You've done well.
We're going to do a quick fire round.
Gosh,
I know you're
pressure's
aware.
on.
First, cats
Go
or
for it.
dogs?
Dogs.
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 To be fair, you can answer that one, Charlie. You cats or dogs?
Dogs.
We're dogs at Manor, for
Yeah.
sure.
Dogs. I've got
So
a little
if you
dog.
just
Even though I
said
haven't got
cats,
dogs,
that was
yeah.
like out the door.
I've
No
actually got
shade
2
on
cats.
100%.
but, yeah.
If you could master any skill, what would it be?
I'm going to say the art of presence, because I think I have not been very present in What are you laughing at? I'm trying to be deep with this one.
Sorry.
I think when you're building something, you can spend all your time like really focusing in on that, and not maybe taking enough time for stuff outside of that work. And I think I'm at a stage now in my business where I'm a bit more aware of my own time and trying to make time with other people, because I think you can get very focused in what you're doing, and it's especially in this fast-paced world, we aren't kind of present enough. So I thought you'd like that. You're always going about being present.
It's a nice answer, but
But
you're going to
what-
have to reduce your response time.
Okay, sorry.
Literally, you message her on any platform like 10 seconds later.
Charlie's just throwing his toys out the back because he's not answering.
I am very quick.
And what's the most adventurous thing you've ever done?
Can I say starting a business?
Why was it
Nice.
adventurous, do you think?
Because I was so nervous at the thought of doing it. So I started it right after the pandemic, so it's towards the end, and I think I was just scared. Like, it's worrying. Like, I didn't know what was going to happen, where it was going to go, and it was just kind of like, I'll just go for it.
What is your relationship with Manor?
Well. Where do we?
Fucking hell.
You tell them.
No, you tell her. Go on.
So I've known Charlie since I was very young. Charlie's best friends with my cousin. So I've known Charlie since since I was probably born, been around.
Since you were yay high.
Since you were yay
Yeah.
high, but Charlie's always been a grafter. So let me just tell you, every opportunity of work, this guy is there. Yeah, the local swimming pool, lifeguard. The local ice rink, he was doing the ice. Or whatever you were doing there, I'd look out the window at school, because our school's across the road, and you'd always be working somewhere doing something hustling. And then before Manor was Manor, we started training together, and Charlie was my coach in my MMA career.
Taught her how to box and Olympic lift.
Yeah, we've done it all. Yeah, it took the piss out of me a lot, which is all positive. I still
dear.
can't do more than 2 pull-ups, but we have our strengths. Yeah, and then as Manor's evolved, I saw Charlie's work for the branding, I saw the work for the spaces, and I think then having the opportunity to train at the gym as well has been really, really cool. So, and clients have come in and trained and used the space and been part of all the competitions and the community.
How do you think social media has impacted the way we approach fitness?
It's exposed people to a lot of information about how to train and how to do it and how to train remotely and build their own kind of love of fitness, not necessarily having to have a direct trainer or have someone in person, which I think when you're in the fitness bubble in a city, there's just so much opportunity. But I guess, you know, having kind of online training offerings, people giving workouts, like we saw it in the pandemic, right? People were able to jump onto live workouts and get involved, and, you know, time is so precious that, you know, people don't always have the ability to be able to get to a gym or get to a space. So I think those platforms and having quick workouts and home routines have really helped people and given them a lot of opportunity.
I think that's good. We were talking about the positives and negatives of social media out there, and something interesting that you said was that kind of it's given a lot of people opportunity, right? And I suppose from a fitness perspective, it's just made it more accessible. So yeah, I totally agree.
And also built amazing communities, I think, which is really key, is that, you know, obviously the last few years we've seen a massive rise in the run club and connections like that, but it's gettable information where you can communicate to people about places to be, where to meet, people to join up with. So for example, like my client Roz in Ireland, she has a hiking community, and she used social media to kind of get people together and meet up. And what's brilliant about that is you're on these hikes and people come on their own and they kind of go, you know, I wanted to get up early and I wanted to go for a hike with someone, and it was really great that you were able to make that safe and secure and meet new people. I don't want to party, I don't want to go out, I want to do hikes. So I think it's a great model of communication.
What are some of the opportunities and challenges that come with having a personality online to do with fitness?
I think comparison is always going to be something that people find very hard online. So looking at what other people are achieving, what they're doing. But I always advise people just to focus on what you're working on and don't look at other people, because everyone's journey is completely different. So it's really important to focus in on your journey, your community, your audience, rather than trying to compare to someone who might be a bit further on in the stage, because you may have a smaller audience, but they might be super engaged and super into that type of training that you talk about. So yeah, comparison is probably...
Do you find that's a big challenge for people? Comparison?
I think people are caught up in numbers sometimes a little bit. It's like, I want to get to this point because someone's got this, or I need to get this
that
to
many
do
followers
this.
Or
yeah. And actually, like, the way it is at the moment is it's not necessarily the most important piece. It's community engagement and audience. So you can have 1 million followers, doesn't mean that you're going to be more successful than someone who's got 100,000.
What's the difference between community and engagement?
I think have a community when, in my opinion, you can take it offline beyond just social media likes. So engagement, I guess, is a combination of likes, comment, interaction, being involved. But then if someone really engages, the next level is community, is they're willing to invest their time to come to something you're doing. They trust you, they've got that interest in what you're up to. So engagement, I guess you can build engagement from content, even from people who aren't necessarily following you, because the way the platforms are. So people might not follow you on TikTok, but you might have high engagement. But if those people choose to follow and buy into you and your story, come to the run club, come to the event, that's like unlocks like a really special level, in my opinion, because it's those are the people who take their time out of their day to support you. And you know, even they buy your book or they buy your product, they're really engaging in your community and you. I think from a kind of perspective of online is probably just not being honest and not being real. You can tell when someone's working with a brand or doing something that isn't true to their core values. So I think from the moment you build a presence online, have your values set, know the brands you want to work with, say no to a lot of opportunities, be firm on your creative and stay strong to what you want to do rather than selling out or promoting something that isn't quite right. I think the big breakdown on audience trust is when you start to communicate, especially with brands and opportunities, in a way that just doesn't seem like it's you. So it's not even just a you battle, it's who you work with battle. So it's just making sure that you're true to what's important to you.
Another one, proper going off script, but how you speak to talent and kind of everything you do should stem off your core values.
Yeah.
Like it's a process that we've been like really drilling into over the last 6 months, and it's just helped.
I do think, you know,
clearer with anything that we do.
For us, good influence is always like a very important core value.
Good influence.
In the talent, but also the team. So I really
100%. See, that's strong. Yeah. Love that.
So I think
I love this conversation. That's why I asked you the question, because it's like I get inspiration from it, and it's something that I feel like really passionate about, is just understanding, you know, what makes people tick, like what's their purpose, what are their values.
Yeah.
So that's why I asked the question.
Yeah, good influence for us is really important from a talent perspective. So people who understand their audience, like what are they communicating, what are they talking about, whether it's an athlete, a doctor, or a, you know, communicator. And then the same for me in business. I think the way the team works, they take that into consideration. Me, leadership, I think, like when you're in charge, I really believe a lot of the values obviously come from the top, how hard you work, how much time you put in, how you communicate to your team. And I think that's kind of gets reflected down. You know, you've always been so involved in everything you do, and I've seen that hard work. So for me, and I've seen businesses where people at the top don't necessarily work as hard, and I think that ends up filtering down through the team.
Do you think that being in MANOR's space, do you think those core values like come through?
Absolutely, 100%. And that's what you hear back from people whenever they go in there. You know, it's a safe space, it's a place you can build a community, you can meet friends, you can go on your own, and people are really welcoming to you. You know, there's no feeling of being secluded or feeling of, I guess, fakeness. It's a real community and family. Everyone knows you, everyone puts time in together, everyone's high-fiving. But with graft, like, you're there to work hard but also support each other, which is really nice.
Does that come through on our social channels?
Yes.
Yeah?
Community, I think, is very big.
Are we doing a good job?
Very good job.
Really? Yeah,
I think so.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's interesting you talk about authenticity, because I think that's our main thing, is trying to capture what's inside those spaces in an authentic way.
Yes.
It's our second core value.
Wow.
Community, authenticity, and good vibes.
There we go. You can pay me later for that one. But yeah, I think you can definitely tell it's a space you go to train and you go to work hard, but also, you know, make good contacts, have friends, have communities, and the events you put on are really good. But people do get very, very fit and have a lot of fun.
Are there any common mistakes that you see fitness professionals sort of making on social media?
Definitely people who still think that just posting photos of themselves topless, looking in shape, is going to build an audience and a community. I think for me, you have to still create content and communicate to the people you're working with. So I think that's one thing. And I think not knowing what your end goal is
still works though. Like
but you can grow followers, but are you growing an audience that's going to buy into your programs, is going to buy, you know, there's so many different layers to it. But it depends on, I would say it depends on what you're trying to achieve. If you're building a clothing brand or a community or online plans, or it just depends on what the model is. But I think, yeah, for me it would be, I'm not a fan of that.
Do you think there's more longevity in something that's authentic then?
100%. Like I've got clients I've worked with for like 9-10 years, and it's been a consistent journey of growth, success, building. The overnight success stories, while some people do have great success, I don't think they have the same power of building the community that the people who are evolving. They're part of your journey, they know the hard work you put into it, because being online is a lot of work, creating content is a lot of work, it's a huge commitment, and it's not for everyone. Like, people can't do it, and that's not a problem, but it's just a different route that you go down, and you have to be willing to commit to it and want to do it.
Do you think there's such thing as a part-time creator?
Is that you?
Asking for a friend.
Asking for a friend.
Yeah, I think so. I've got clients who are creators and have full-time jobs as well. It's just how much capacity you have to make content. I think content creation it's a complete skill. It's creating videos, it's producing, it's editing, it's the works. So it's just down to your capacity and vision.
Do most of your creators like script, shoot and edit their own videos? Really? Yeah,
pretty much.
Mental.
Yeah. Sometimes you might have someone with a longer form piece that does editing with you, or come and help film things. But remember, these things cost money, so you have to get to a point where you can't, you know, that
you can afford that.
Because it is a cost. But people do love ready, steady, rough shot content. I mean, every platform's different, but it doesn't always need to be a massive production. It just depends what you're offering and what your audience is looking for.
Defo.
I was reading an article the other day about how we went through, with sort of the rise of TikTok, how we went through that sort of phase where we wanted to see all our favorite influencers like show us a life that we wanted. And now it's almost like the reverse, that we want to see raw, authentic people that are showing the lives that we live.
Yes.
What do you sort of
absolutely.
think on that?
Yes, I do agree. I think a lot of our clients are very relatable. I always try and keep in mind, we work with people, like, who is the major audience you're speaking to. And I think, you know, Joe Wicks has been a very positive impact on the fitness landscape because how accessible his training is and the people he speaks to. You know, people who are at home, people who are at kids, your parents, your grandparents, such a mix, young people, old people, the kind of list goes on. And I think because you keep it relatable and accessible, people feel positive watching your content. Like, you don't want to, there's a lot going on in the world. We don't want to see people showing off their expensive lifestyles all the time, and I think we have to make sure that we're paying attention to the reality of what life is like for everyone and being authentic, as we've always said.
Thank you so much for sharing everything you have with us today. What can we sort of expect to see from you in the future?
Well, it's coming up to our 4th year, which is really exciting of business. So just continuing to work hard as a team and support the clients we have, and I think growing with them. The focus has always been just good management and representation first, rather than focusing too much on being a huge agency. It's always been about, you know, good influence and good representation. Try and get more races in and spend time with my family.
And be present.
Be present, be present, and train hard.
That's it.
Always train hard.
No, thank you so much for coming
Thank
on today.
you for having
No,
me.
You're a ledge,
Thank
mate.
you.
You're a ledge.
So before we go, what final advice would you give for someone that's wanting to start out with content creation?
Just don't be afraid and try and enjoy yourself. And I think you have to want to do it, so don't feel forced to do it. If it doesn't feel like something you want to do, then maybe it isn't for you. But try and remove worrying about what other people are going to think, because constantly people are like, I don't want to post that because I'm just like, oh, my friends might see and someone might laugh and this. But if everyone sat there worrying about that, we probably wouldn't have creators. So it's just about, think more about yourself, think about the future and what you want to do. Don't worry about what other people think, and go from there.